Hello everyone. Welcome to day one on Python. So in this particular series, we will cover fundamentals of Python and then we will also cover DSA, okay, data structure and algorithm. Now, in today's session or in this first session, we will be looking at some fundamental concepts in Python. So basically, we'll start off with some basic Python syntax and output, how to comment. Then we will also look at, first we'll look at how to comment a particular line using hash. If I want multi-line commenting, I can use quotations. And then we'll also take a look at variables, which are basically like uh, which is created so that you can pass dynamic values or you create dynamic spaces where you can overwrite it with different data types. Apart from that, we will look at numbers and data types, and then we'll also look at casting. Okay. Then strings, booleans, and we'll also take a look at operators as well. Okay, now let's go and start with the coding. Okay. Now, again, I'll be using Visual Studio Code for this particular session or this particular series. So please make sure you have Python and Visual Studio Code. So if you have installed Python and Visual Studio Code, if you go to extensions, please make sure you have all the Python extensions installed. So if you go to extensions and type in Python, so you'll get something called as Python debugger, Python and Python environment. So make sure you install all these uh, extensions. Okay. So now let's go ahead and start. Okay. Now, the very first thing, like if I want to comment out a single line, I can use this hash, which will comment out a single line. Okay. And if I want to comment out multi-lines, I can use either single quotes or double quotes at the beginning and single quotes or double quotes at the end. So this will comment out the entire section, okay, or multiple lines. Okay, so here if you can see, I have started the three single quotes at line number 3, and I'm ending it in line number 95. So basically, everything between line number 3 and line number 95 has been commented. Okay. So if I want to change it, so I will come to that. So if I want to change it, I can also change that as well. Okay. Now, the very first command that we will run is we will just print out something. So first, I will create a file. Okay, so I'll go here, file, and then I can go and create a new file, and I'll create a Python file, and then I'll rename the file with file save as, and then I will make sure I'm saving it in a particular location. So for this particular scenario, I have placed it in C drive and Python underscore training folder. Okay. Now, once I've saved it in a particular location, so basically I can come here in the console. So basically you can get the console if you go to view and terminal. So if you go to view and then you click on terminal, you'll get into the terminal. Okay, so in the terminal itself, if you type in this command cd, then the exact path, but make sure you are providing backslash, okay, not forward slash. Okay, so you provide the exact path where your files are, and then you can always run it. So once you do cd, so then provide your path. So basically it will take you to that particular path, and you make sure you are in that particular folder, okay, to execute a particular file in that particular folder. Okay. Now, if I want to execute a particular file, so basically first I have to write the code in my Python file and then save. Okay, I can use Control S to save. So now in my Python code, there is only one line that is active. So print welcome to Python day one. Okay. So now if I want to execute this, so I can use okay, I can use this command Python, and then I'll type in the file name day one dot 5. Okay, so now if I go ahead and hit enter, so basically I will be able to execute this. Okay, now so let me first save this particular file. Okay, now once I'm executing this, I should be able to print welcome to Python day 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that. Okay, so now you see, since I had not saved it earlier, so that's why I was not able to execute it. So now since I've saved it using Control S, so now I'll be able to save it, and now it's executing welcome to Python day 1. Okay, now let's go ahead and comment this particular line. I'll use hash to comment this line, and then let's go ahead and execute another. Okay. Okay. Now, if you see, indentation is very important in Python. So in SQL it was different, but in Python, so for a block of codes, uh, I mean, indentation is very, very important. So if I am removing the indentation, it will not identify. So now if I change now, I'll start getting an error. Okay. So I have to make sure my indentations are correct whenever I'm executing a query. Okay. So now basically, if I want to execute, so I'm just writing, I'll come to the if at the later stage, but yeah, you can see if 5 is greater than 2, then it should print 5 is indeed greater than 2. Okay, then there are some comments, so ignore this. Okay, now if I just go ahead and save this and then I execute, so now you can see it says since the condition is satisfying, so it will say 5, indeed 5 is greater than 2. Okay, so writing else condition and everything, we will come to that. Okay, now for this particular section, I want to comment out. Okay, so I'll comment it out. Now, in our next example, we will take a look at variables and data types. Okay. Now, okay. Now, for variables and data types, so basically, in variables are basically, as I told you, like are these placeholders. Okay, just like in any other programming language, if whatever you understand the concept of a variable, it's something very similar in Python as well. So project name is my variable, team size is my variable, and budget is my variable, is active is also my variable. So the good thing about Python is you don't have to define the data type at the beginning itself. So on the go itself, you can change the data type, you can assign the data type and go about it. So now if you see project name, so this project name has text, okay, strings. So basically the data type is string, str. Now team size is another variable where I'm assigning 14. So now the data type for team size is integer. For budget, again, it's float, and is active since it's assigned value true. So now the data type will be Boolean. Okay. So now if I just execute it for now. Sorry. Okay, since I've not returned anything. So since I've not printed, I've not said or I did not write a command for printing or anything. So it's not returning anything. The variables have been created, but it has not returned anything. Now, if I want to return something, I can always return it using this particular command. So here, what I'll do, I'll uncomment this section. Okay, and then I will execute. So now basically if I go ahead and execute it, so basically what you can see, I'm defining the variables and then I'm printing out one of the variables, which is sorry, the type of a particular variable, it is budget. Okay, so now basically if you want to understand or display the type, what type of variable we have, so you can use the function or this particular object called type. Okay, now if I execute, so now you can see the type of budget is this part being the text. We have float. So class of this particular variable budget is float. Okay. Now next is So Python also, like if you want to define multiple variables in one shot, in one line, and then you want to print it out, you can also do that. Okay. So for now, I will comment the entire section. Okay. Now, if I want to define multiple variables, so here what I'm doing, I'm defining multiple variables. So X, Y, Z being three different variables, and I'm assigning values apple, banana, and cherry to these variables. So now if I go ahead and execute this, so at times what happens if you're executing multiple files, or if you execute multiple files and this becomes cluttered. So you can also clear it. So using the command clear. So if I'm using the command clear, so in my terminal, everything will be cleared and then I can execute from the scratch. Okay. So now if I use Python day1.py, so now you can see since I have printed the three variables X, Y, and Z, so I'm getting apple, banana, and cherry, which I have defined earlier. Okay. Now, okay. Now, next, we will take a look at numbers and casting. So basically, if I'm creating a particular variable where I'm defining a number, but the number I'm providing it in quotations. So it means by default, the data type of this particular variable is a string. Okay, same goes for the other. It should have been decimal, but again, since I've used quotation, the data type is basically string. Okay. Now we can use this cast approach or casting approach where we can convert the data type. Okay. Where we can convert the data type from one format to the other format. So here, if you can see, I have used int, then raw input string, and float, then raw input float. So this basically is used to convert these raw input, which used to be string, to integers and float. And then we are creating another variable called total, which will just add the integer and string. And then finally, we are printing out the total. Okay. So now let me just execute this. Okay, so now you can see total after casting is 249.99. Okay, now um, okay. Next, if I want to print out the total, the data type. Okay, the data type for total. So basically, I can use str total. So it just will convert the total, okay, which used to be like in sorry, decimal. Since we have added integer and decimal, so the data type finally, sorry, integer and float. So finally, the data type will become float. Now, since we are using that particular float, I want to convert it to, and then I want to do a concatenation. I'll not be able to directly concatenate, so I have to convert it to a string, and only then I'll be able to concatenate. Okay, so now if I'm using print put function, then concatenate, so this is how I can also concatenate. Now, since I had commented it out, so that's why I'm seeing this error, but that's fine. I will fix it. So now commented everything except this part. So now just try to understand. So first we have creating a variable which is in string. Then we are creating another variable which is basically decimal, but still since we have used quotation, again this becomes string. So now we are creating two new variables and assigning or converting the initially string variables and to integer and float, and then we are just adding both the newly created integer and float variables, and the final value is total. Then we are just printing it out. Okay. And then on top of it, like if I want to do a concatenation, I cannot directly do a concatenation. Okay. I have to use string total. I mean, I have to convert it to a string. So I've used the function str and then I've used string. Okay. So now if I go ahead and execute, so you can see, so for the first print, we are getting this. And for the second print, the final calculation is, since we have converted the entire thing into string, so it has taken it as, so it has done the concatenation and then it is displayed. Okay. Now, now let's go into the next example. Okay. Now, if I want to talk about advanced strings, so now if you can see, what we have here is okay. Okay. So in this advanced strings option, so or session, or section, I'll be more precise. So first I'm declaring a variable called department, and then I'm defining or passing a value called enterprise string. But now you can see in this value on the left hand side and on the right hand side, there are some spaces too. Now to clean up these spaces, so often you'll find like a lot of times when you are getting some values and then you are getting spaces on the left and right hand side. So to clean it up, so basically we can use s strip. So I'm creating another variable clean underscore department. So department dot s strip. Okay. So this basically will clean if there are any spaces on the left hand side and on the right hand side. Then we are using this variable clean underscore department, and then we are converting this entire string into uppercase. So upper underscore department is equal to clean underscore department dot upper. So it means the entire enterprise analytics will be converted to uppercase. Okay. Next, we will be creating another value where it will replace the text analytics into engineering. Okay. Now, if I once done, so then I'm just printing the original and then department, which is the original value, and then I'm printing the cleaned up value, which is the replaced underscore department, then the cleaned up value. Okay. Next, once I'm done, so basically, let me first execute this section, and then we will I'll execute the other parts. Okay, so now you can see before cleaning, the original value was enterprise analytics. Now after cleaning, you can see it says enterprise analytics, and then since we have used or replaced analytics to engineering, it is converting this analytics to engineering. Okay. For some reason, this convert or upper did not work. Clean department upper. Yeah, because upper department, because I did not use upper department to replace. Okay, so I've not printed out the upper departments. What I'll do, I'll make a small tweak here. I will use upper underscore department dot replace. Yes, so this looks good. So now let me save and execute it again. So now you can see, since I've used the variable where, upper underscore department, which is converting clean underscore department to uppercase. So now you can see the entire thing is being displayed as uppercase. So enterprise analytics. Okay. And yeah, so, and you may ask me like why analytics and engineering has not been replaced, because both of them are in lowercase. And if I use something like this, and this is, since it is case sensitive, so since does not it was used in lowercase, so that's why if I use everything in uppercase, so now you can see it will be replaced. Okay, so now you see, since I've changed the from lowercase to uppercase all the characters. So now, since I have changed, so now I'm able to display or replace analytics with enterprise engineering. Okay, so always remember, since Python is case sensitive, so you have to be very specific on if you're using uppercase or lowercase. Okay, now next, once we print it, so next we'll go. So now, if I want to prefix, I want to add some values, or so I will use this clean underscore department. So I'll start from 0 and end at 10th character. Okay, and then I want to print slice prefix and this the variable. Okay, let me just do that. So now you can see in the output, basically the slice prefix enterprise. Since I have used this concatenation starting from 0 value and ending at 10th value, so that's why it's starting from 0 and ending at 10 characters. Okay, so and we are getting the output. So next, another example. So if I have a team size, let me just clean this up. Now, next, in the next example, if I'm having so I'm creating a variable called team size. Okay, and then I'm creating a budget, which is, I mean, which I had used earlier, but yeah, now the budget is 25 2,50,500.50. Now, if I want to use f strings, so this is like a modern approach on how to use strings. Okay. Now, using f string, and remember, f strings work in Python 3.6, above 3.6. Okay. So I'm creating another variable, summary message. For f strings, basically, I have to start with f with the quotation, and the variables, if I want to pass within the text, I have to use it in curly brackets. Team has, again, curly brackets, members of a budget, then dollar, then another variable. Okay, and then if I finally go ahead and print it, you can see the final output. The enterprise analytics team has this clean department, 14 members, and a budget of this whatever number we have. Okay, the whatever budget we have defined. Okay. Now, okay. Now next, Next, we'll take a look at Booleans. Okay. Okay. Now, for Booleans, again, the department variable has not been defined. So we will bring in the department variable from the top or somewhere. Yeah, so this is where the department variable we have. So I'll just bring in the department variable. There we go. Now, here, like, I mean, Booleans is another data type. So basically, like if I want to print is 10 greater than 9. Okay, so if I'm defining, so 10 is greater than 9, then I will get yes, or something true, and print I mean, this is just a text. And if I'm defining, or if I'm trying to pass a value, or I'm comparing 10 equals to, so basically if I want to use equals, so I have to use something like this, 9, and yeah, so it will just display yes in the first case, and or true in the first case, and false, because 10 is not equal to 9, right? So it will define false in the second case. Okay, so in for both the prints. Next, once we have defined the department, now we are just going to print. And does department have text? So Boolean. So we just pass in by default. If you see, we are passing for any text or any variable. If we just pass this Boolean, you'll see like what result you'll get. And for null, if we are or empty string, if you are passing, you'll see what result you are getting. Okay. Now, if I save it and execute. Okay. Think I did not save it, but yeah, let me just save it again and then execute. Okay, so now you can see in the first case, as I said, true. Second case, 10 is not equal to 9, so false. Does the department have text? True. So remember, whenever you're passing any this Boolean function on a string, by default it will give true. Okay, and for empty string, it will give false. So this is a standard feature in Python. So always remember this. Okay. Now, next, we'll look at operators. Okay. So now what we have is we have I mean, I'm defining a variable A and B, and it's assigning 15 and 4. The first example, I mean, for the first print, I'll just create some space where I'll use dot dot dot, and slash n is basically used to come to the next line. Okay. So we are using slash n, and then we can use, yeah, for arithmetic operation, we can use plus. For division, I mean, slash. Sorry. For floor division, it is double slash, and modulus is percentile, and then for exponents, we are using star. For multiplication, again, we can use single star. For exponent, we can use double star. Okay. Now, if I just go ahead and execute. Okay. So now you can see the result, addition 19. This is the division, floor division, modulus, and then exponent. Okay. Finally, if we want to take a look at assignment and logical operations, so basically, suppose for example, if I'm having defining a variable as 10, and then I want to add like five times or five values with the same on the same variable. So I can use c plus equal to 5. So basically, this is similar to like as I've mentioned, c plus 5. Okay. Now let me just bring in the two variables, budget and team size. Okay, so print first I'm just printing out c plus equal to 5. Then this is my team size 14, budget, this is my budget. And finally, if I want to check like if budget is greater than 0, so it will return a Boolean value, again has team greater than 0, then it will again return a Boolean value. And here basically um, okay. And here I'm just writing an if condition. If budget and has team, so these two variables, which are Boolean variables, then print project is ready to launch. Okay. So now if I go ahead and save, if both the condition satisfy, then the project is ready to launch. So if I execute, so now you can see it says project is ready to launch. So since both the conditions are greater than 0, so it is satisfied, and then we are getting the final result. If the condition is satisfying, then we are since both of them is true, so we are getting print is ready to launch. Okay, so hopefully, you guys have liked the session. I will end it here. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment, and please provide feedback so that going forward I can also include those comments or those topics in the course. Okay. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.